We love a good comms plan. So there are two primary ways creators like to be reached out to. They like to be reached out via email if they have that in their bio, usually, or via DMs. Now, we find that they're more often than not preferring email, but just be prepared with a version of how you're going to reach out in each of those ways, right? In an email, we can put a lot more information and be hopeful that someone will actually be able to digest it all. Whereas in a DM, we're probably going to want a shorter, sweeter message, right? Something that's going to get them right to the point right away. In this comms plan, we also want to include deadlines. I'm sure you know this from working with your own colleagues. I think people just respond really well to knowing when something needs to happen. It helps it happen on a much tighter timetable. You all have opening nights, you all have show times. So if you have a deadline, certainly think ahead and give them one as well. The other thing I'll say is like, why have a comms plan at all? And oftentimes it's because we're going to be reaching out to maybe more than one influencer, right? If you're just going to reach out to one person, maybe you don't need to sit there and really have this plan fully laid out. But if you need a copy paste system because you're reaching out to quite a lot of people, this is very, very, very useful. You also want a little plan for what happens if they're going to give you some radio silence, right? So you may reach out, they may have really busy DMs, their emails might be flooded just like yours and mine are. Are you going to do a second reach out? Are you going to do a third reach out? Just know what your limits are and what your plan is, and have a very simple copy pastable message that's like, hey, just bumping this to the top of your inbox again, would love to work with you. And that way you're not overthinking this. It's on the calendar, X number of days later, email again, and it's something you don't forget to do. It doesn't sort of like fall by the wayside and let the whole thing kind of go into the bin. Additionally, you can share examples if available in this communications plan. So if you already kind of know what you're hoping the creators are going to make for you, you can say, oh, we're really excited about this style of content, or, we looked at your page and we loved this example. Feel free to pop things like that in there at this stage. It can really help the creators say like, oh, I know what this is. Like, I know what they're asking of me and I'm interested. So let's look at the next step, which is drafting a campaign brief.
I like to think of the campaign or creative brief as a shared blueprint. It's really not more so about scripting the content, although you can, or limiting creativity, but it's really about setting everyone up for success before a camera ever turns on and the actual work begins. So at a minimum, this is where you clearly outline the goal of the campaign. What is the creator helping you to communicate? What should the audience walk away understanding, feeling, or doing? Those are the kinds of things that you want this to portray. And this is also where you share your guidelines. This can be as simple or as detailed as your organization needs, depending on the project. It can be things like brand tone or language. For example, is profanity okay? Are there words or phrases that you want to avoid? Definitely something to think about. And then we can get a little nerdy here, because this is where you outline any technical requirements as well. If the content lives beyond social, which might be you're asking for a more vertical format, maybe you want it to live on your website or in paid media or in an email. What are the sizing requirements that you want? And do you want the creator to handle that? Do you want to handle that? Those are all things to decide and to communicate very clearly in your creative brief. The more transparent that you are at this phase, I believe that prevents a lot of unnecessary back and forth between yourself and the creator and them continuing to make more videos or make more edits. So try to make this as clear as possible so everyone is set up for true success. And then we're going to move on to the next step.
Yeah, and just really quickly before we do, I wanted to add that we feel like at CI, from our experiences in this work, that it makes the most sense to do that comms plan reach out first. And then once someone has agreed and said like, yes, I'm interested, then they're ready for a creative brief. That's why we've separated these into two different things, even though effectively they're both about telling the creators what we want and need. We kind of don't want to like overwhelm them in ask number one before we're ready for a creative brief. So just wanted to share that component of like the structure.